Welcome to ATI Pro Media. Thanks for joining us today, live at 9. We're talking about today's headlines, and who knows where we're going to go. Connor B has been on his game, building some good headlines to talk about. Got a nice show built for you. Who knows where we'll go, though? We got corn exports. We got Ukraine, Russia talk. We got a little corn soybean ratio. Talk about that graphic. Going to talk John Deere as well. Some earnings stuff as on that front. But yeah, who knows where we'll go. Let's jump over to your grain markets and we'll quote up the board, and then we'll get Connor B in here and we'll kick off the show. So looking at March corn, down a penny and a quarter here out of the gate, 488 3/4. March beans are up a penny, 1028 and a half. Soy oil is down 12 points. Soy meal is down 40 points. Looking over your wheat market, March Chicago wheat is up 2 cents, 576 and a quarter. March KC wheat is up 6, 597 and a half, tickling that $6 level again. Good to see. Was down overnight and then rallied back here. So good to see. Looking over at feeder cattle, they've been on both sides this morning. March feeders are up 32 and a half points. On your Feb cattle, Feb fats are up 10 cents, 199.25, touching the $2 area. Looking over at lean hogs are down 22 points. Crude oil is down 50 cents at 70.85 on the March contract. Diesel's down 3 cents. Yeah, 3 to 4 cents on the March contract. 241. Might pull a diesel chart up and look at that real quick. Nat gas up 13 cents. So markets are moving. Looking over your equities, the Dow is up 43 points, the S&P up 14, and the NASDAQ up 117 points. Connor B, come on to the show. That's where your markets are at. So everywhere, nowhere, all, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, just looking at my grain quote board, not too exciting. Had a big down day in soybeans yesterday, and I think we got to talk a little bit about the corn soy ratio because we kind of saw it. I don't know, exacerbates the right word, but we saw soybeans down. What'd they close, Brady? 12-13. I can't remember. And
yeah,
then
it was a
corn market up, right? Like just that discrepancy just continues to get wider. So it's going to be interesting, right? Is anyone going to plant soybeans? I don't know.
That's a good question, Connor. That's a good question.
Here we go. We got a call coming in. Pull him in
live caller coming in here. Got her decline. Yeah, I'll call you back there later. Yeah. So, all right, first headline. Let's jump into the show here. What do we got, Connor B?
Let's do it. John Deere missed revenue estimates year on year. They slumped 35%. And with most farmers switching to rented equipment due to weak incomes and high borrowing costs, sending shares down nearly 4.5% today. So, we've seen from the lows, we've seen the prices rally, right? We've got corns up probably not quite $1, but 60 cents. But we're still dealing with a tight farm economy, and I think John Deere is going to feel that, right? And then also, I think back in September, didn't we have Trump? Right, he warned John Deere, called them out specifically about additional tariffs if they move business to Mexico or Canada. So continue to see slow growth. I did see for their 25 estimates, they were most people are considering them very conservative. Right. So I don't know if they've learned their lesson and they're not going to throw out a big number. Right.
Yep, definitely. Yeah. Interesting headline, though, but with the likes of, Cargill, ADM, John Deere, tractor revenue sales last year, looking at all those things in the ag economy and the ag space, they might need Elon Musk to come in there and work on a little efficiency, maybe. Maybe we can get them to go in there and clean some house and help. I don't know if that helps with your gross total, but maybe it helps with your overall profit margin and maybe get them back into a little better spot. Who knows?
I like it. It. Well, hey, let's keep pounding. We actually got a lot of headlines. It's always funny when we build the show. Sometimes it's like, okay, we've got 1 to 2 headlines, and we're really going to hit them, right? They're important. Today, it seems like they just piled up, and it's like we got a lot to talk about. And so, moving right along. Thanks for keeping me on track, Rick. Keep popping them up. CONAB, right? CONAB for just a quick check-in, right? That's Brazil's reporting agency. We had those numbers out today, and so kind of keeping with trend where we're not following what the USDA did. So we saw them increase their Brazil corn production. Their first corn crop, we saw them raise yields ever so slightly, and their second corn crop production increased, not on yield, but on a bigger area. So both across the board, we've got corn production up from January. January they're at a 119. February we're at a 122. The opposite of what the USDA did, right? USDA for Brazil corn production trimmed it across the board, and so USDA we're still higher though. Even with with the Brazil at a 122, USDA is still at a 126. So we're still seeing that discrepancy.
Coming together though, maybe coming together
closer, I think. And then CONAB on soybeans, they reduced their soybean production ever so slightly. They're at 166, where the USDA is at a 169. So they're CONAB's not interested in following some of these outside estimates, right? We're seeing those big numbers, right? We're seeing those 172s, 171s, 170s, but then we've got the USDA for 2 months in a row didn't change the number, 169, and then CONAB is actually decreasing it ever so slightly at a 166.
Yep. Bottom line, there's still a big bean crop though in Brazil. Those are both big numbers and significantly bigger than they were a year ago. So
yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Year on year, when we're looking at soybean production, even with CONAB decreasing it, we're still looking at a 12.5%, 13% increase. So always good to keep in mind, right? And if you're a bull or bear, you pick whatever number you want to look at, right? If we're bearish, we're going to pick the big number. If you want to be a bull, make sure you're looking at the CONAB numbers. That's the smallest one.
I like it. If it fits your narrative, let's roll with that one, right? Okay. Let's go with that. So, but we had that bean flash sale yesterday too, I believe. So that was, good to see that little late minute bean flash sale in there. Speaking of sales, we got corn export and weekly sales here. Actually, data for last week, corn export sales are still strong. Soybeans disappointed. I got a graphic pull in for you real quick. Look at that. But 64.9 million bushels is the actual sales, near the upper end of the expected range. That's hot off the press here this morning. Came out at 7:30. And beans at 6.8 million bushels, well below the bottom end of that range there. And wheat, nice little week for wheat sales, 20.9, near the upper end of the range, expected range on wheat sales. So good to see. Sorghum was actually on the board with some sales this week, so that's an improvement. But the outstanding sales book is well behind where we were a year ago, and not a whole lot of business happening on that front.
Gotcha. Kind of the same story, right? Corn export sales, whether we're looking at inspections or sales, corn continues to shine, and soybeans kind of continue to be that redheaded stepchild.
Redheaded stepchild. We can say that. I got a little redhead. My youngest is a redhead, so I can get away with that.
I hope she's not listening.
She's good.
One stat I did see on soybeans, combined old and new crop net sales were the lowest since last March. So definitely, on the low end of the range, and getting close to the low end for the year too.
Interesting. Yep. So we got a hot export market with corn. Beans are kind of lackluster. Let's talk about next year and the corn bean spread a little bit too, and what we're seeing on that, Connor.
Yeah, let's do it. You got a nice chart there, don't you?
Yeah, Susan Stroud put this out on Twitter. Definitely rolling over with the beans down 14, 15 cents yesterday, and corn up a couple pennies, widening that gap there between incentivizing corn acres versus bean acres. So look at that range we've seen throughout the years past on that soybean corn spread.
Very, very much. I mean, we've seen the ratio be more extreme. It's just different. It's different parts of the year where either we know where the acreage is. We're kind of in uncharted territory for this early in the year to see that ratio get so wide. So very interesting, and interesting what it's going to be. What implications we're going to see going forward in terms of acreage. I gotta say, it feels like the chatter. In Central Illinois, I think overall we're pretty consistent, right? We're going to stick to rotations across the board. Maybe some of your bigger guys are going to flip-flop acres, but I got to say the economics point to more corn, right? That's the chatter, right? I guess we'll see what the USDA decides to tell us, but I think when markets tell us that they want more corn acres, gosh, I feel like guys listen.
Yeah, definitely some regionality on the balance sheet and what pencils out better in different regions across the country. And a guy's got to wonder too, what does that ratio need to be with the cost of inputs where they're at? Beans seem to be a lower input type of, commodity and product. Cash flow is important with fertilizer where it's at and the cost of inputs. Where does that need to change to get the same number of corn acres out there? I don't know, Connor. It's worth considering and thinking about a little bit too. Is sometimes the markets aren't always wrong. It takes us a while to catch up to where the market actually is for what needs to happen out there in the field. So I don't know. I'd probably ought to pull a balance sheet, couple balance sheets, and dig up some of those and look at where they're at across the country in that comparison.
So our daily risk management pitch, right, is that if we're making a decision to defend more corn acres today, or if we're making the decision to plant more corn acres today, we got to make sure we defend that decision, right? Sometimes, especially with us, when we talk markets every day, we get our short term view on, right. Right now, corn price looks good relative to the soybean price. But we're talking about this soybean crop out of Brazil, how that's going to affect it. The story changes, and it's going to change very quickly in the next 6 months. So, as always, risk management, make sure we're, if we're making a decision on what we're going to plant, make sure we're defending that decision on the back end.
That's fantastic, Connor. We got to ring that bell for you, the Taco Bell for you on that front. Good risk management talk. Yeah, if you're making planning decisions based on price, defend that price. Definitely.
So I think we're a little preemptive with these headlines, but we are seeing talks. President Trump talked to Vladimir Putin about, trying to end that conflict. And we're getting really close. I think it was Rick looked it up. It was February 28th, 2022. So we're getting close to the 3-year anniversary of the
Feb 24th, 2022. Coming up. Yeah, that anniversary coming up. 3 years.
24th.
Wow.
Yeah. So it did involve concessions of land, I think. So, I saw like the European Union wasn't happy that we're having these talks and they're not being included. So who knows, right? It's good that we're having the discussion, but we could still be a ways away from actually seeing a ceasefire. And then the other one is, I think Trump is going to announce potential reciprocal tariffs. I think that's going to be this afternoon or around noon. I'm sure we'll be talking about that tomorrow. But those are things to look forward. If we're looking forward instead of looking backward, make sure we're paying attention to both those headlines.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Headlines that can move your markets and change the game. And who knows how they will impact where funds want to be and how they want to be positioned going forward. But a dynamic marketplace still remains, and headline risk is out there for everyone out there. Bullish and bearish. It's hard to predict how they're going to react. We can debate and try to guess what. There's a lot of fear of what a Trump presidency looked like for commodity prices. November timeframe, and what have markets done since November on the grain side of things?
They haven't went down.
Right. So the mindset and the thought of what should happen doesn't always happen, and things can turn out differently than what you think. So defend your bias. That's what we talked about in the premium yesterday, or I guess I talked about in the premium yesterday, was defending your bias and looking out at new crop corn. Had some specific tools for guys on corn, and even Milo marketing. Talked a little Milo marketing. Which I just threw that on there because sometimes when you talk corn out here, Milo is, hedged with corn products too. But actionable tools and, just marketing mindset philosophy with defending your bias as you make decisions, if you're making decisions. So, yep.
Absolutely. Good stuff.
Right. We got any comments or questions we need to roll through here and get on down the road?
Here we go. Feedlot we haul to most has now switched to grinding majority corn to 75% grinding Milo and only 25%. This is brutal on the corn basis. Why the switch, you think?
Availability, lack of an export program, and the basis difference there. Penciling out, penciling in. Milo has a fit. You kind of got to watch. I think Milo has some tannin stuff in it that maybe you got to be careful with how much of the ration is Milo versus corn. So some people don't like feeding it. Same with wheat type of stuff. Wheat makes its way into rations, but definitely as you get into far western edge of Kansas and eastern Colorado, wheat is making its way into some feedlot rations too.
Gotcha. And then, yeah, along the same lines, he says thinking about planting more Milo this spring.
Yeah, Milo's a good crop. Drought, I would say, from an agronomic perspective, out here in our part of the country, farmer bred, it makes a lot of sense and has a great fit out there for us. From a price perspective, though, I don't know. Milo can be very dynamic, and managing that basis risk on the Milo is the hardest part of managing Milo. It can be, we can have dollar plus basis and we can have dollar minus basis, and it's impossible to go hedge and protect that. So I wish there was Milo futures on the board. We got 500 bushel corn contracts, Connor B. Can't we get a 5,000 bushel Milo contract? Let's just get a few of them out there and give these guys some tools to go protect themselves on this Milo market. Come on.
I like it. I not to be a contrarian, but I wonder if we got a Milo market. I got to think the liquidity in it would be maybe I'd be pleasantly surprised, but I gotta feel like some guys would still use corn futures just based on the liquidity, right? How much players are we gonna get in the Milo contract?
Across hedge, but Connor, I'm giving you the buzzer because you are just wrong. Get out of here with that thought. We can't have that negative sentiment. We need Milo futures on the board.
MMGA, make Milo great again.
I love it. It's our new slogan. We're gonna roll with it. So.
All right,
you Illinois boys.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares about Milo.
I even got my Illinois. I got my Illinois shirt on.
You're repping the Illinois. Okay. All right. I didn't get the memo. I'll wear purple tomorrow for sure.
All right. Luke's been hearing more soybean acres in North Carolina last year put a hurt on a lot of operations with corn yields down so much. New crop cotton still uninspiring, and like corn, it's expensive to grow. Okay. So North Carolina's thinking a little bit more soybean acres. Yeah, good to see. It's always nice to see what pencils, based on each region.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Carolina, a lot of beans out there in that area. It's kind of more so than you think. I remember going out to Outer Banks a few times and just seeing a ton of beans out that way. But interesting to see the regionality once again of what you're pricing. But cotton in that same boat as corn, and kind of a high risk, and definitely not buying any acres versus corn. The cotton market is definitely uninspiring, Luke.
That's we talk a lot about the corn soybean ratio. It'd be nice to look at a historical corn cotton ratio too. I know when we're talking about flipping acres, corn soybeans is going to be the story, but looking at in Luke's area or different areas, right? Yeah. Are we going to be planting, are we going to be looking at corn acres versus more cotton acres?
Yeah, there's some, key cotton areas that are just going to be cotton because that's what they are. They're cotton kings, but yeah, definitely some regionality with that. And the fringe acres, like, northern Kansas is, or southern Kansas, northern belt of the cotton, my area, I would see those getting trimmed back. We call that sock and underwear cotton is the type of cotton we raise. But I guess we'll have to wear our socks and underwear for a couple extra years if we're going to trim back those acres. But sub 70-cent cotton, when you got, 470 corn on the board, isn't going to buy any acres up here, sub 70 cent, especially with the inputs and the work involved in planting cotton.
Sure. Gotcha. Yeah. Man, it's going to be interesting to see that corn soy ratio. I talk about it a lot, but just that perspective planning, right? Just seeing where's the USDA going to have us initially on corn and soybean acres.
Yeah, I can't wait to see those numbers get thrown out there and see where we start and see how we move throughout the year. And they're always changing. It evolves, Connor. We printed a 3 billion bushel carry out on the stocks to use stuff in summer of 2020, and that changed very, very quickly over the next 6 to 8 months. So things move, things change. Watch out for the unknown. All right, what else we got? Want to get out of here, Connor B?
Yep. I say we wrap it up, right? I'm sure we'll have some stuff Friday. Monday, President's Day. Markets are closed.
Okay. So all right.
Keep that
3-day weekend for us. That's exciting. I'm looking forward to it, Connor B.
Yep. Good stuff. Okay. Well, everyone have a great day.
Okay. I'll click the button. See y'all tomorrow.
See you, everyone.